Hello guys, welcome back to the Big Screen Show. My name is Victor.
I'm Alex.
And it's just us two again, but we're back bringing you guys another video today. This time we are reviewing another Netflix original, Leave the World Behind. I saw the trailer for this one this time, which recently I haven't been seeing the trailers for some of the stuff we've been watching. And I was excited because I love thrillers and just like eerie, weird movies that just bring up so many questions when you watch the thriller and stuff like this. So I was excited. But first, let's give our general thoughts. I'll start since I'm already kind of going. Like I said, I was kind of excited for it because of the trailer. Although we saw it today, Friday, which is the release date of the movie, and I actually saw the trailer only yesterday. So I found out, I was like, oh, this is about to come out. Let's watch it, Well, my thoughts are that this movie was on pace to be literally 9 out of 10, potentially even 10 out of 10, depending on how it could have landed at the end. But due to, and I'm probably going to harp on this a lot throughout this episode, or throughout this episode / video, due to the way it ended, it decreased its value a lot for me, which is sad. I always hate to say that. That's always disappointing when that happens, obviously, but I think it has some great things going along for it through the majority of the film. The highlight of it all, at least for me personally, being its cinematography. I mean, wow. I was telling you off screen while we were watching it, this might be the best cinematography in a Netflix original I've ever seen, honestly. Definitely at bare minimum up there, like top 3, top 5, who knows, I can't really remember all the Netflix originals I've seen, but it's definitely memorable in that aspect. And obviously the cast is stellar, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali. So I think the cast was great, the writing of it was great, the plot was definitely intriguing as you keep going. It adds and covers a very sticky situation, which if we were in, we'd all probably be feeling some type of things that were being felt throughout this film, at least in the beginning of it all, which again we'll dive a little bit deeper on later in the video. But overall, I think it's really solid up until the end, which is very disappointing. So for me, my final rating is going to have to be a 6 out of 10. Just a good one-time watch. I probably wouldn't watch it again just because I know what is coming at the end, and that will deter me from wanting to watch it again. So that's obviously very sad. But yeah, I think other than that, I think it's definitely worth the watch. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. And get your own opinions and thoughts about it. Who knows how you can feel about it. But Alex, what about you? I gave it a 6 out of 10. What are your thoughts and rating for Leave the World Behind?
Honestly, for the start, I'm honestly with you. The movie had potential to be like a good, solid 9 out of 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because of the ending, like to me, it felt kind of a bit like abrupt, and especially with what it was like leaning towards, especially like the whole type of lesson and what the movie was trying to represent. It could have been stuck the landing much better, but it didn't. But I first and foremost will say that the performances done by Mahershala Ali, Julia Roberts, and Ethan Hawke, and even Kevin Bacon, who I was actually surprised was in the movie. Because when I saw the trailers, I didn't know who that was. But when I saw him in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's Kevin Bacon. Because I have not seen him in like anything in a while.
Like a year?
Yeah,
except the Guardians holiday special, right?
Yes, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special last year, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he did. Yeah, they had some outstanding performances with probably some really good, great written dialogue for the movie itself.
Definitely.
Because like the dialogue is like pretty much like the heaviest point of the film.
For sure.
Where it's like a whole entire point.
Yeah.
And honestly, the writing is like just feels so real and authentic, especially given like the circumstances that's happening in the world for like the plot of the movie, which honestly, if it actually was happening today in this world, we would probably be acting just like how those characters are in the movie.
Definitely.
And yeah, I mean, seriously, don't know who did the cinematography for this movie, but like I tell you, we can all both agree on this. They did that. It was so amazing. Like they did like every different type of the tricks with the camera for like literally every minute within the movie. It's crazy.
We tried to look up information on who and what the cinematographer's name was, but we could not find it. But whoever you are out there, you're amazing. Just know that.
Yeah, because like seriously, we really need to see some more of those type of tricks in Hollywood films currently.
Whoever that guy is, he needs to be like busy like all day, every day with so many other projects because that was truly phenomenal.
Yeah, he needs to be as busy as Lin-Manuel Miranda when he's making music for any of those Pixar movies for Disney and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I found the story and plot was actually done pretty well from throughout the whole film, keeping up its mystery. Keeping it under suspicion. Keeping you
intrigued.
Yeah, keeping you intrigued. Notifying like every single time we're thinking like what's happening as it kind of builds and builds on these strange things happening. But all in all, it's an ending seems like a bit abrupt, and for the lesson it was trying to go for, it felt kind of like short ended. Like it was kind of script seemed like. Honestly, don't know what happened. It really had potential, but honestly, due to that, despite great acting performances, excellent writing, phenomenal cinematography for this whole film, for me, I'm gonna give the movie a 7 out of 10.
Gotcha. Yeah. I hear you. I feel you. I totally get it, and it's sad because I mean, and I told you while we were around the halfway point or just a bit before that, I was like, because I know how these movies can go, right? These types of movies sometimes have a tendency to kind of veer towards the way that this one ended up going, which is like everything is so good but doesn't stick the landing. Mm-hmm. So due to that being already present in my mind, I told you, I was like, if this can stick the landing, this will be like amazing, Mm-hmm. Sadly, at least for us, it didn't. But hey, that's just our opinion. So, if you haven't seen this movie yet, definitely watch it and let us know what your thoughts on it. If you have seen it, still let us know what your thoughts are on it. We want to know. We want to chit-chat about the ending. We want to see how you feel about it, what your thoughts are on it, because it definitely piques or it definitely starts a conversation for sure. But with that being said, if you don't know how things work around here, that is it. That is our spoiler-free section of the video. Now we're about to dive deep into some spoiler territory, get into some more specifics, some nitty-gritty. So if you haven't seen the movie already and you wish to keep it spoiler-free, this is it. You may click off the video. This is your spoiler warning. And again, we try to bring you guys videos like this at least once a week. And if you could please subscribe to us, that would help us out so much. Join us on this journey. And if you like this video, the best way to let us know is by hitting that thumbs up button down there. So again, we appreciate that very much. And again, let us know in the comments. Have you seen it? Have you not seen it? What are your thoughts on it? We would love to talk everything having to do with Leave the World Behind. Now, with that being said, Alex, it's basically apocalyptic world scenario, right? There's a family. They're on vacation. They live in the city. They're going outside of the city. They booked an Airbnb type vibe, right? They're with their family having a great time. Next thing you know, they get a knock on the door, and there's this father and daughter basically trying to tell them that there was a blackout that occurred in the city, so they felt like coming back to their home. Only problem is that home they're referring to is the place this family had booked their vacation, right? And so then that brings up the first kind of bit of friction, if you will. And so I want to get your thoughts. What would you do in that scenario if you were the person who rented that Airbnb? I mean, what a sticky situation. You know?
Yeah, for me, I would never do Airbnb. That's not my whole thing.
Never.
Because it's like
way better than a hotel. Just saying.
I kind of disagree on that one, but it just has to do with like a whole more trusting issue. Since letting strangers into your home, and then you never know what these type of people like would have or what they might think of you and the whole type of thing. Because it has more to do like matter of like privacy and like safety type of thing. Honestly, but I'm kind of paranoid like that. I'm just made to be. But in that particular scenario, I mean like. It's kind of it's kind
a
of
sticky situation.
Yeah, because again, it's their house
right.
that they rent out to you, and then
right.
it's like they need to ask their permission to stay in their own house.
Right.
Like it's kind of like a very odd situation.
And there's no. We should mention there's no access to the internet due to just weird things occurring. At least at this time, where we have no information on what is actually occurring, but we have no cell signal, we have no internet, and the TV is not working. Therefore, we can't look up some terms and conditions or some some kind of what the, I guess, if they did use Airbnb, right, they didn't necessarily name a specific, but if they did use this type of platform, what their terms and regulations are for this type of scenario. But it sure is quite the sticky situation. So, I agree. I don't know what I would do either. I'd be like, like, I don't know what to do, because, like, I want to tell you no, because I paid for this, and, like, I don't know who you are, but, like, you're telling me this is literally your house, so, like, what the heck do I do here,
Yeah, and the main clashing personalities, it has to do with, like, Mahershala Ali's character, GH, whose daughter name is Ruth, and where it's like she kind of comes off as kind of like a bit pretentious and standoffish to basically Julia Roberts' character, who in the beginning of the movie does kind of like fourth wall breaking scenario, and how she basically just says, like, I don't like people.
Yeah. She basically makes it very clear that she strongly dislikes people.
Yeah.
The human race, really.
She's highly distrustful, and then the Roots comes in, where it's basically like the reason that she did that, and that Julie Roberts' character, like, doesn't want them here, makes it uncomfortable, because she thinks that, she thinks it's because, like, the color of their skin, or something like that, but it's really not. It's just that she just has this whole preconceived bias already, that people aren't that trustworthy, like there's something suspicious about them acting, how, like, because of a blackout they decided to drive all the way over, probably hours maybe or so, to their own home, instead of, like, going to, like, the nearest hotel for wherever they're going for their nearest location.
Right. Yeah, it definitely, there's a lot of underlining things within these conversations where they're discussing what to do, where like you said, is it a thing about race? Is it a thing about, thief, murders, all these kinds of crazy kind of, like, underlining, like, possibilities where there's just a lot of uncertainty in the air, but general distrust, like you said, and just dislike of people, like you said. I mean, it's quite the scenario. That part was definitely a very entertaining part of the movie, just because it's just like, what a predicament to be in, but moving along, I guess they allowed them to stay in their home, and so due to that, that's where we finally get settled in, and the next day stuff really starts moving along. Weird things are occurring. I guess we finally make the realization that things are not okay. Self-driving cars, Teslas, are being rammed into each other and blocking highways, because literally there's brand new self-driving cars that are being hacked and driving and crashing into themselves, that are piling up and causing them to be locked into the area that they're in, because all the highways are completely shut down due to traffic, in a way, which is really just cars crashing into each other. Because in the end we find out, or not in the end, but at that point in the next morning, we find out it's a cyber attack. There's a hacker type of situation going on, so having to deal with, electronics and stuff of this nature, which is why, again, the TV is not working, there's no Wi-Fi, the phones are not working, not even the...
That's not even the sat phone.
The sat phone
that GH should try to find from, like, his neighbor's house and stuff like that.
Right.
Because sat phones are usually made for when normal phones don't work, can't cell service.
Right.
Like,
as long as you have a clear view of the sky, the sat phone should work, and it didn't. So even the satellites were clearly taken out, which that has to do with the satellites in space. So there's some real serious stuff going on. GH, when he goes to get that phone, he also sees two planes, or, well, he sees one, but had seen another one prior to the one that he actually saw happening live. But basically, two planes crash landed in his neighbor's backyard, basically. So, like, a lot of weird stuff. Whereas Ethan Hawke's character, the dad, went to try to go to the town to talk to people to see if they knew any information. And while he's on this little solo mission, literally a crop dust plane was flying low, and what looked at first to be like red gas was basically that was coming out of this plane was basically flyers of propaganda in an Arabic type of writing, one would assume at least. And we later find out that it said "Death to America" on the flyer, so weird propaganda going on. So just a lot of weird things are occurring, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
now, not even that. The weird part is like lately we've even been seeing like these groups of animals coming around the area.
Right.
There's like a whole mass herd of like 50 to like 100 deer in the area.
Mm-hmm.
A group of like 8 to 10 flamingos just flying into the backyard pool of the main house.
Right.
Even there's even like
flamingos and like a flock of multiple flamingos in a pool in like North New York. Yeah, just weird.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff even happens. Even then,
basically, abnormal migration patterns by animals.
Yeah.
Which, at the end, I just thought about it. Due to the ending, which we're about to talk about, we never even found out what that was about.
Yeah, it was kind of stated like by Kevin Bacon's character Danny, who was like a major survival prepper.
Yeah.
Basically talking about how like they're saying like these like microwave radiation levels or something like that. That's basically.
It was the radiation.
That's basically sent around through like sound, everything. Because like in different parts of the movie, there was like this screeching sound that the humans were being affected by. That was screeching and that was causing them pain.
And you hear booms and stuff going on, and a really loud screeching, high pitched sound. Continue.
Yeah, because it basically meant to be like the radiation patterns, because like the radiation levels are basically affecting the economic patterns and thus the migration of these different types of animals. So like they're coming in larger groups and packs and just kind of moving around and everything.
Yeah.
And yes, again, as it seems to be affecting more of the people, we found out that Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke's son. Archie apparently was getting sick, like coughing up blood, and he was literally pulling his teeth out, like teeth were falling straight out of his mouth.
Yep, and that was definitely a cause of concern. And so they actually, Ethan Hawke and Ali's character, GH, so Clay and GH, they take Archie, the son, to this Kevin Bacon's house, who is a very prepared person
named Danny.
Right, his name is Danny in the movie. Because he is known to be a very prepared person for situations like this, and they take him to his house, basically asking him for some kind of medication or some kind of help, because the boy was literally bleeding profusely out of his mouth, and his teeth are literally just falling off, like just boop, like very easily, and was very, very sick. So that was when the one of the higher points of tension occur, where literally GH and Danny were facing off with guns, because basically Danny, Kevin Bacon's character, is very hard-headed and was basically like, nope, my stuff is for my family, I'm here to provide for my family, and I will not help you even though you have a sick son, because I need to take care of my own people. And on the other end, obviously, we're begging you for help because my son literally needs help, and we can't get to a hospital because all the roads are blocked off and there's just literally no other place that can help. So that caused a little bit of friction until finally Danny gave in. He was given $1,000 by Clay, who is again Ethan Hawke's character, and he talks about a barter system, even though when you think about it, it wasn't, because he gave him cash, but that is a hint in itself through the overall message of the movie, which, let's go ahead and talk about the ending and the overall message of the movie. Basically, the overall message of the movie, well, at least in part, is the humanity kind of losing its way, with, say, we're so addicted to technology, a screen in front of our faces at all times, can't live without Wi-Fi, cash, going back to the whole thing about cash and how he referred to it as a barter system. That's because that's how desensitized we are to actual physical cash, because it's oh, send me a Cash App, send me a PayPal, send me a, Apple Pay, things of that nature, use my credit card, debit card, things like this, where like even physical cash can be looked at in that situation as a barter system, even though it's actual financial and monetary substance, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that kind of thing where humanity, I think the message is basically, at least for me, I don't know what it was for you, but basically like humanity is obviously losing its way, and without these things, humanity has crossed this line, this threshold where now that we're past it, without it, it's like we literally can't function at all. So we're past that line where if a situation like the one that we're explaining is occurring in this movie were to occur in real life, we'd be like deer in some headlights because our phones don't work, the internet doesn't work, we can't get on Google, we can't, we can't do basically anything, and we're unprepared, right? Like, if I had a son and he got sick and I'm in this situation and I'm trying to take him to the neighbors or to a guy down the road that I know is super prepared and might have the medication, I might not be able to because I don't carry cash. We're so desensitized to all these things, and we're so in a different type of way of living nowadays that some of those like core and just like core necessary kind of knowledge and kind of abilities that are needed in that situation are now either one, not as common, or two, non-existent.
That is why basically the main theme that's played heavily throughout the film. Because around every turn, it always shows that each character trying to rely on like some type of form of technology or something like that.
Right.
I mean, even like Ethan Hawke's and Julia Roberts' daughter in the movie Rose was pretty much like the prime example basis of that entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where basically all she wanted to do was literally watch the series finale of Friends to find out what happened between Ross and Rachel.
And that's all she wanted to do. That's all she was focused on. She was completely clueless to the actual horrors of what was going on around her because she was just so concerned with watching the series finale of Friends, right? And that's another thing too. Actually, what I just said reminded me of something else that could be also another theme in this movie or meaning to the ending, which is society and humanity as a whole, current day, is very unaware of the horrors of the world, meaning the current status of what is going on in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So due to that, if we look at it in a pattern in this movie, it's perfectly exemplified. Kevin Bacon's character, Danny, he was talking about how he was reading the newspaper and stuff like this. So he knew things are going on around in the world. So he was fully prepared, right? We go down the line, it started with a T, but it was the neighbors that built a big bunker.
The Thorns.
They were clearly prepared and actually got out of town, but built this huge bunker that is like it looked like $1 billion bunker, right? For end of the world.
It looked like
scenario.
very expensive for how much they sets up in there.
Very expensive, very nice. Literally can grow their own food in there, type thing.
Had a whole pantry of everything. Had cases of water.
Yeah.
They even had like their own like little gym and stuff installed in that thing. Had a whole.
No, they literally made life in there.
Yeah, like, they literally had like a whole. Yeah, they had like a whole DVD collection on their shelf and everything, an actual TV with a DVD player and everything, enough and everything they need to like literally survive in that thing for like months on end.
Which is an example of things like people don't grow foods anymore, right? People don't use analog things anymore, right? Like it's like we stream movies now instead of like plug it in, hit the on button, put the disc in,
Mm-hmm.
Like all these things were present in that bunker, right? And so that was obviously showing the way of survival. So but them, right? So Danny, them with the bunker, these people clearly know the current status of the world and what was going on in the world and were prepared for something bad happening, and that's why they were prepared. Whereas our main subjects and the focus of this movie, Julie Roberts and Ethan Hawke's family and Ali's family were probably not so much aware of the current things going on in the world, and which is why now things have blown up and they're like deer in headlights. You know,
Yeah,
that could be another theme in this movie.
Yeah, but I'm thinking Mahershala Ali's character was one who was probably the closest one to knowing what this whole situation was, because it turns out he was like literally like to meet you like an investment or like one of those stock or those Wall Street stock trading guys like that. Because he's had like major connections where he talked about this one client who was like a major defense contractor.
Yeah.
And he basically had gotten inside information like literally the day before these whole blackouts hacking situations happened. He's basically given like an inside scoop as basically being like, you know, something like this might actually happen. Like, because throughout the entire movie, Mahershala Ali is like, he's like being unknown to what's happening to the rest of everybody else, but he knows a little bit more than what he's telling everybody else.
Right.
But he's not fully stating it because like either he doesn't want to believe it or he's like,
questioning it himself.
Yeah,
he's battling with that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just trying to wait to find out for more information, but due to the fact that they all can't get any other information because all the roadways are blocked, and again, there's no internet or any connection, and they can't make any calls.
That helps him believe it more and more as time goes by.
Exactly, and it's like literally at the end of the movie that we literally find out what his defense contractor client had been talking about was basically this whole government plan to like literally for like a country or a system, anything in place to literally destroy itself, where it's basically like isolating itself, like cutting off all communications, major blackouts, everything that they need, and then basically everyone basically just turns on each other. Because it also makes points to a major thing about Julia Roberts' character, how she doesn't like people, because people at their true nature can like be evil, they're selfish, and they don't really care about anything but themselves.
Greedy.
It's all part of like a manipulation to get them for what they really want, to take advantage of the others.
Right.
Which again is also part of her preconceived belief, how like she doesn't like people, and how she just projects that onto GH and his daughter Ruth.
Right.
And again, Ruth is kind of throughout the movie. Ruth is known to be like wanting to know more about pretentious. Yeah. Because she always acts like she knows more and acts like she knows how everything is the way it is, but like clearly she really doesn't.
A typical 25-year-old, really, because she was around that age.
Yeah, she was around. Yeah, she definitely had to be around like after high school or middle college.
No, she was definitely around that age.
Yeah.
She said it. So yeah.
But yeah, she had her own preconceived notions for like Julia Roberts' character and everything. But again, she didn't know anything as much as anybody else did. Even though she tried to act like better than her, things she knew.
Yeah,
everything.
she's just as clueless.
Yeah, but I think also like part of they're the ones that had like the main antagonism tension in the movie as well. But again, that's one thing that again because what it shows off from that standoff between GH and Danny, and then with Ruth and Julia Roberts' character is so like again that's basically what was happening for the whole like government plan where people want to turn on each other. But it changed because it actually resolved itself and actually gained them coming together, which is another major theme. How like if we basically think together ourselves and learn to be less selfish and be more knowledgeable, we can actually learn that the best way to handle these situations is to like be strong, stay together, and group together.
Right.
Which is something they find out later on. We find out as the movie comes to an end. But that's an idea. But we definitely know to where it was going. But there's never really much to know afterwards because the movie just kind of ends abruptly.
Right.
And that's kind of a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah,
I agree.
And one other fun theory I had about this, for like this whole government plan that he was talking about, because again, the movie literally also ends like literally a show by literally the camera going off into the distance, showing off the city of like New York or Chicago it was, basically just being like just blown to hell, like bombs, explosions, gunfire, and everything.
There's clearly war in New York City.
Yeah, but then the way the whole movie had made itself up to be to the end, it literally made me think of this movie, direct-to-DVD movie with Dave Bautista called Bushwick, where there was like where there's literally an attack, a military assault and attack on the city of New York and each of the districts and boroughs, and basically find out later on in that movie is that basically all the southern states basically seceded from the country of the United States and was basically attacking each of these major cities like New York, LA, major city places and things like that, like probably most likely even Atlanta and things like that. But like one fun theory is I kind of think that this movie could kind of also go along with that movie in a way too, where one focuses on the
play this one first and leads into Bushwick.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun to think of, because like this whole movie has a whole theme on what it means for like when a country goes against itself with paranoia, distrust, and things like that, and trying to learn from that.
And then that kind of starts off on that foot.
Yeah, and then the next movie is basically seeing like the aftermath of when all this major government plan takes place, and they see like an attack on one of the major cities.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll watch that next.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen it, but you've told me about it. Cool.
Because that movie's also made me think of like how I can see like the world that we're living in could be ending. Because like, sure, it could be nuclear war or it could be war with other nations. But honestly, with the way our society and everything is happening now within the United States and everything, a civil war within our own states also seems like the most likely scenario as well.
Yeah, it's not far fetched. I buy it. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, and so the movie basically ends with that information that we have just given you. Not anything of true substance post that, or resolution post that, to really, I guess, kind of, tie the bow at the end, like a little extra, just, a little bit of oomph, you know?
Because
I wouldn't even say oomph, just polish. I would actually, instead of oomph, I would use the term polish. You know, just that little bit of extra, whether it be 10, 15, 20 minutes after, don't really know, after the movie actually ended, if we could just get that little bit more, just to polish the edges a little bit more, or you could argue maybe even a lot more, depending.
You could say that, because again, the ending,
really, it just kind of, it felt like the movie was going like this, like, we're climbing, nice, we reached here, everything is going crazy, and then it just ends.
Yeah, because
at least for me.
Yeah, because the thing is, the movie ended kind of open-ended to like make what we want.
Yes, it wasn't. I guess so. Let's be clear about that. It was an open-ended movie. So if you like those, then you'll love this movie. But I quite literally hate open-ended movies in 98% of the cases. So, in the way of this one, Leave the World Behind, the way this one was done, hated it.
For me, I don't have a problem with open endings like that, because if the story's good and like it kind of, and the open ending kind of like relates and makes sense for what the movie does. I just don't think the execution for the open ended ending for Leave the World Behind for this film
was done properly.
I don't think its execution was done right, because it had the potential to, but I think the fact was because it just felt really abrupt and didn't feel like much was like kind of earned in that way, as we were finally like getting an answer to everything.
The payoff wasn't there.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was enough, because there've been plenty of open-ended movies that had open, ambiguous, or open-ended endings that worked really well. Yeah, but like this one, I don't think its execution was done right.
Yeah, I agree.
Which
no, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't sound so harsh, although they really do just piss me off in general. But there is scenarios and cases where an open-ended movie is completely fine because it works well, and you gave me enough substance leading up to that ending where I can make my assumption for the rest of it fairly easily. And maybe it's not even ease that matters, but more so sense, right? That it makes sense. So I'm not mad about it. And those scenarios, at least for me, are rare, but have happened, sure. But there's just so much, like, I feel like it's a very volatile and fragile thing to do, an open-ended movie, at least for me. And in a lot of cases, it fails for me. It rarely really succeeds, truly. And this is another one of those cases, which is why, again, I specifically told you, like, 30, 45 minutes in, I was like, this movie better be careful. But if it does it right, it could be fantastic. And it didn't. I'm actually really sad about it. But do you have anything else to say on Leave the World Behind?
Yeah, this is one thing I actually did mention as we were watching the movie. Like, it was like literally within like the first opening 10 minutes where honestly, this whole movie, seeing it from beginning to end, it honestly, with its writing, its use of cinematography, and like its story thing, honestly, the movie kind of had like the vibe of an M. Night Shyamalan film, because like when I was looking at it, it kind of felt like it had like combined bits of like Knock at the Cabin, the movie Old, and the movie The Happening.
Yep.
Because it had like some very specific moments, like when it comes to like viewer perspective on the camera, certain elements and tension and writing. But the thing is, like, this is kind of like Leave the World Behind is kind of like what a more better M. Night Shyamalan movie could be, with better cinematography, much more better writing that didn't sound very odd or strange, or didn't get, or wasn't trying to make quirky characters just for being quirky, with like not much relevance or anything impactful behind it. Because like honestly, it does give me M. Night Shyamalan movie vibes, but like
Definitely.
a more success, more like a more successful version of what M. Night Shyamalan
Like
tries
more
to
polished.
make. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I mean, around the halfway point, I was like, this is giving me Knock at the Cabin vibes big time right now. But, in a way better way.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Yeah. So, hey, you know what? Those are our thoughts on Leave the World Behind, Netflix original. It came out today, so the day before you're seeing this video, or we uploaded this video, I should say. So, you know, if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend it. Yeah, like, watch it. Just be wary of the ending, and once you see it, please come back, let us know what your thoughts are on it, because we love to chit chat on it. And you know, I think due to the fact that it is an open-ended movie, it leaves room for lots of conversations, that people will have different perspectives and different thoughts and stand on different things when it comes to that kind of thing. So we love to get in some conversations about that. But that's going to be it for us, guys. Leave the World Behind. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to do that. We would really, really appreciate it. We try to put out videos at least once a week, sometimes more, for you guys. So come on and hit the subscribe button and join us on this journey. And again, if you like this video, the best way to let us know you do is by hitting that thumbs up button down there, because that really does truly help us out. And like I said, let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section about any and everything having to do with Leave the World Behind. And we will see you guys soon, probably next week. This was The Big Screen Show. Peace out.